Hello students, welcome to the management case study for November 2021 and February 2022. So students, before we go through the case study, this is one of the wonderful new case study that they have introduced in the CIMA, where the students are expected to know the updated knowledge. Now students, before I come into the updated knowledge, I just want to ask one question students, that many students are joining this time from different aspects. There are students from FLP, which is the Finance Leadership Program. There are students from the Gateway as usual, and there are students who come from the generic route of doing the OTQ exams. Now students, before you go through the case study, what we need to do is let's analyze this logo. Now students, if you see this logo, this is completely misleading. You see a house and you see the Wi-Fi signal here. You see the house and you see the Wi-Fi signal here. So the idea here we say is that IoT. IoT means Internet of Things. Now students, most of these things, Internet of Things, is there in the syllabus of E2. Now students, if you observe, Internet of Things is the modern way of how the machines operate. Example students, in our houses, earlier when we had the printer, we generally need to connect the wire to the computer and print. But now it's not like that students. If you have a Wi-Fi in your printer, what you can do is you can directly send files through your Wi-Fi to your printer and take out the printout material. It can be also done using a mobile phone, a tablet, or any device which has a Wi-Fi connection. So students, before I go in detail of this case study, first thing I need to go through is the content mapping. Now students, the first thing you need to understand, the content is very important. Now students, if you look at the P2, more than that, I always need to say, if you are going to do this case study, please read the topic, the concept of business ecosystem, alternative approaches to business model, business models in digital ecosystem. Now students, these three things are the basement, the backbone of this case study. And then students, coming into the P2 area, there is a separate section called data required for decision making. Even this is a very new area students for your understanding. And then students, the treatment of risk and uncertainty, anyway you need to keep in mind. And coming into the F2 section students, as I told you, it's a long section as you know, but you need not waste a lot of time in F2. If you have a basic idea in F2, that's more than enough. But the most important thing in F2, as per my understanding, is the long-term finance and the cost of capital, and also the other areas are also very much important, but these two areas are generally integrated towards the paper. So students, the next thing I wanted to say is coming to the Frinta. You need to be very careful students. This time they have developed a wonderful case study, but it is not directly driven. So students, as usual, they have given about the COVID-19 sentiment. That is, if you see in the previous, students generally write about COVID-19 examples, but at the moment the examiner generally says, unless and otherwise if they give any situation with pandemic, then only you can explain. Other than that, no need to go and explain detailedly. So students, coming into the next one students, for your understanding, if you see classically students, what I can specifically say is the content. Now students, if you observe the content, what you can understand is this has totally 21 sections. So introduction anyway they may give about the business as you know, and even if you see Frinta's history, generally it's the business, that is the E2 area generally. If you generally see heating control, the product detail is given, again generally the business knowledge. And then they have given about the smart speaker. Now there is a problem in this case study. There are two segments actually. One is the heating controls and the other one is smart speakers. So students, you need to be very careful on the two segments students, because it looks like a heating control business if you just have read the introduction, but when you go in detail students, you find there is a digital transformation. Students, there's a digital transformation. There's a digital transformation. Digital transformation, classic example I can say is Sony Music. Students, if you observe Sony Music, when you were young, they produced the cassettes. And then what happens students, now Sony Music is there in YouTube, Spotify, everything, where they digitally transform their enterprise, where people can go into the streaming mode. So students, if you observe nowadays, everyone understood that the businesses are changing definitely. So you should be very much clear with this idea. So one is the heating control, other one is the speaker. So what I will write down here is, students, in my notebook I'll just write down here heating control. You need to keep in mind that is one separate aspect I can say, and the other one I can say is the smart speaker. Students, smart speaker is completely a different aspect. Smart speaker is a different aspect. And students, I can give you a real life example of smart speaker. I think you may be aware that is known as the Amazon Alexa, if I'm not mistaken. Amazon Alexa is a smart speaker, and also students, even Google has their own smart speaker. And also if you look at, students, like example Apple, they have something called Siri in their mobile phone. And students, if you look at Microsoft, they have something called Cortana, if you have observed that, students. So if you observe the, students, day by day the digital industries are improving. So when the digital industries are improving, the businesses are also forced to have a disruption or a transformation in their business. So coming here, students, for your understanding, YP Burn, that is their competitor data, Frinta's rival in the smart speaker business. So students, just remember one thing, they have specifically mentioned smart speaker business. So this time when you are going into the business environment, that is your exam day, you should always think about two different segments. One is the heating control and the other one is the smart speakers. Now students, here they have mentioned Frinta smart speaker, and they have given a brand about that. They would have given about the operational function of these products as well. So coming here, students, the next one they have is Frinta's operations. Now again, students, it is related to E2. There can be project management, and also P2 also lot of involved. The costing area is given as usual for P2. Just keep in mind, I'll just write down here transfer pricing. I will again do the analysis in detail in this video itself. And then students, we have the management structure as usual. The management structure would have been given, and the business model, students, I think this is the E2 area of the value creating business model, and they already gave this from the new syllabus from the first case study. The first case study was travel music, and the previous one was trainer, if you have been aware about. From that till now, they only give this business model, and they extract from the annual financial report the financial analysis. I will definitely develop another video, that is the ratio analysis detailed video will be given, students, in the YouTube channel. And then students, if you look at the news report, this is very important. But students, one good thing I can say, since you would have already read this time the information is very clear. This time information is clear. That is the positive thing that I can say, information is clear. And students, just remember that products are two categories. Heating control is a different one, smart speaker is a different one. Just to make your life easy, students, if you are working in a company like Honda, just remember one thing, Honda produces car, which is a separate segment. Honda also produces motorbike, which is a separate segment. Customers are different, the customers are different. So just keep in mind, students, one company producing two different ranges of products. So coming into the detailed explanation, students, introduction. So students, coming into the introduction, this is a very, very dangerous introduction, I can say, because many students got misled what they are generally, because the introduction is very, very simple. Frinta is a quoted company. So students, I can also say at least corporate governance is a very important area that you need to keep in mind, students. And then students, there can be standards like EPS, which is IAS 33 for your understanding, because very, very important, students, because it's a corporate governance. And then students, the WACC, the area of WACC, that is the weighted average cost of capital, you need to revise that, students, because there will be questions on investment appraisal mixed with WACC every time they test that. The manufactures and controls central heating systems and electronic devices that form the basis for smart home. So students, as I told you, the logo, just look at the logo, it has a home, and you see the Wi-Fi signal in the home. So that's the smart home concept, students. Central heating system, students, if you go to a 5-star hotel or a medium hotel, they generally have the heating system in the wall, where it's a centralized heating system where you can control it. And students, if you look at the generally the cold countries or the cold region, they generally have this in every houses, because they maintain that. Frinta is based in Westland, so this is very important, students, the country details. A developed country, so just remember ethics will be very important, because developed countries, they highly value ethics and other policies, that has a strong economy and whose citizens have high standard of living. So students, if the standard of living is very, very high, I can specifically say, students, that the smart mobile concept or the smart home concept will be a great success for them. Westland's currency is W dollars. Westlandian company law requires companies to prepare their financial statements in accordance with IFRS. So just remember students, you need to prepare in accordance with IFRS. You are the finance manager of Frinta's head office. So just remember that you are a finance manager. Students who has done OCS should upgrade themselves. Hereafter, the technical content is less, more into the application and the business content, little more compared with the earlier one. Your primary responsibilities are associated with the management accounting, and you report to Amadua Gallo. So students, just remember the name of your senior finance manager who reports directly to the finance director. So you know the process how it works out, students. So I'll just guide you on how the process works out so that it will be very clear and easy for you to understand the application. So students, coming into the application, just a minute. So I'll just guide you on how it works out. So if you generally observe, students, the finance manager, you are the finance manager. Okay, you report to the senior finance manager. So just an idea, you report to whom, students? Senior finance manager. Keep it in mind, that is, the names are very important. The hierarchical process is very important. So I'll write down his name so that you may not forget it, and then he reports to the finance director. But students, in the examination, generally the finance director sometimes may directly tell you in case your senior finance manager has gone on a vacation or something. That is the basic idea. So students, coming into the next one, students, Frinta's history and the products. Okay, now coming into the application, Frinta was founded in 1970. So if you see 2020, students, 1970 to 2020, the company is almost 50 years old, for your understanding, students. The company is 50 years old, and they are specifically stating initially manufactures components such as thermostat to control domestic central heating system. So domestic, that means houses only they initially targeted. They never went into the higher level. And then Frinta's founder was a plumber. So the story looks very nice, students. The plumber has started the business, who had developed the patented of a new type of thermostat that was easy to install and gave users a great control over the home central heating system and traditional control. So in the previous time there was an innovation then that was patented as well. So I can specifically mention here IAS 38, that is the intangible asset, students, and also you can remember the 36 as well, that is the impairment loss also, students, because this area both are like sister and brother, because whenever there is an IAS 38 there is high chances of an impairment. The company started to manufacture these devices at a time when there was significant boom in the construction industry. So just remember, students, 50 years ago the construction industry was in a boom. So indirectly they are saying we are indirectly dependent on the construction industry. It's like, I can say, supplementary product. The new the new homes being built at central heating throughout, and many older homes being modernized and upgraded include central heating system. So if you see that country went into a transition where they modernized their houses in the past, that is 50 years ago. So the heating controls, they are giving a basic idea, students. Frinta's early products was essentially mechanical devices that control gas-powered central heating system, that is the traditional way. Most homes had a single main thermostat controlled by the central heating system. A rotary dial that was set in the temperature which was as the house was maintained. When the air temperature was above the threshold, simple mechanical device opened the switch into the device and so disconnected the electrical connection and the central heating boiler. When the air-cooled thermostat closed, the switch was activated and heating. So students, this entire paragraph is just given to the students to just visualize how that did in the past data. So students, this can be generally used whenever you are going to do any promotions like that. The history can be generally mentioned, students. Individual radiator also had a mechanical thermostat that controlled the flow of the water that piped from the boiler. So it's similar, like I can say, the heating of the water. If the radiator was below the desired temperature, then the thermostat opened the valve and allowed the hot water to flow through. Heating and radiators and radiation heating in the room. The thermostat closed the valve once the radiator reached the desired temperature, so it prevents overheating as well. So students, here they have mentioned a very good introduction about their product ranges in the historical environment. So students, Frinta expanded its range of operating electric heating system using similar mechanical thermostat in control of gas powered heating, and they are saying from gas power they went to the electric. So you see students, there is always a transformation. This company is transforming this product students. All of its products were designed to be an attractive as possible, because they were intended for home use and also easy to operate as possible. The company rapidly became the largest supplier of domestic heating control in Westland. So students, largest supplier in Westland for domestic heating control. So the areas that they have not target is the corporate segment students, because they can target the corporate segment in the future, that is the B2B segment. Example, in offices they can use these products, shopping mall they can use these products in future, not at the moment, but there can be situations that they can go. But being the market leader at the moment, clearly mention that they are doing a wonderful job. And then they are saying Frinta invested heavily in product design, adding features such as mechanical timers that permitted householders to set their heating to switch on and off on the predetermined time. This is like the old timer. That means you have a wine and you turn it back, avoiding the cost of heating of unoccupied during the working days. The user interface was key element of new design, with each new design being designed with the easy to operate and blending the domestic settling rather than looking for piece of industrial equipment. So one of the key thing they are saying is easy to use students. It's easy to use. That is the basic idea they are saying. Frinta was quoted in the Westland Stock Exchange students. So F2 you need to be remembering long-term finance, debentures, financial instruments, IFRS 9, all these areas, please refer that students. In 1990, that means after 20 years, at the time the founder stepping down from the company and retired. So the founder has retired in 1990. That clearly says still if the company is surviving, the company is having a very strong management if the owner has retired. He sold all his shares and took no further interest in the company. So he has completely exited from the business. The owner has completely exited from the business. So we are very clear that our business now is a corporate governance business, where it is managed by a management and there is an investors who are waiting for their return in the company. Since its flotation, Frinta has continued to manufacture control devices. Its range now include controllers for hot water heaters, air conditioning system. So students, they have just expanded their product range, hot water heaters and air conditioning system. But earlier it was heating only, but now hot water heaters has come. Frinta has been at the foremost of incorporating new technologies into design. For example, replacing mechanical thermostat with electronic sensors, incorporating LCD displays that shows settings, and have made controllers more reliable to make them easier to operate. So students, day by day you understand their product in the heating segment is doing very well, because they have the first mover advantage as per the Preseen data, and they have a wonderful story and a strong historical backup. One major area of change has been the online control. Now students, here comes the major area, online control. Most of Frinta devices are now smart, meaning they can be connected to household Wi-Fi system. Students, that only I told you, IoT we say is Internet of Things, that can be operated by an app downloaded to a smartphone, tablet, laptop, desktop computers. Users can operate their app, operate the heating system from any room, making use of user-friendly interface in the app that make any adjustment with ease. They can also control their devices from outside home, provided they have internet connection. So students, I think this is the smart remote concept that is there, and I think students, you would have also experienced in most of the Android and the iOS mobile phone, where you can control other devices, especially the projectors, everything you can control it at the moment. Frinta's app makes it easy to the householders to program their heating system to suit their lifestyle. For example, the heating system can be programmed to switch itself off at the time when this house is likely be unoccupied. So you can do automation, students. So I'll write down here automation as one more thing. And they are saying the householders can also override the timer of the smartphone and other connected devices. This can be convenient if they're returning early expected wishing to come home a warm house. So they can already do the automation task as well. So there's a huge development in the heating controller. Specifically, it has become smart, and your mobile phone can be used to control the devices at the moment. And students, you clearly see the picture of the heating, that is the temperature, and the person who is controlling using the mobile phone. So students, I generally feel this we would have generally experienced even in our working environment. Frinta remains Westland's leading supplier of controller by revenue. It has also significant exports of sales. So exports they have mentioned. So I'll write down here, students, IAS 21, the foreign currency, maybe individual, something like that, prominently to the developed countries only. So students, there can be opportunity that we can move into the developing region as well. There are several major competitors in the controlling market. So now their ecosystem is saying their products are significantly cheaper than Frinta, but they also have much less sophisticated. There are still demand for inexpensive controller that do not have the smart features used in Frinta's latest range. Indeed, there are still manufacturers who produce mechanical controllers that are similar design of construction made by Frinta, which was found in 1970. Now students, based on my experience, I can say Frinta can do something called relaunch. They can relaunch a vintage product. They can relaunch their vintage mechanical, I can say, heating controller, where you need to do it, because I think there may be old people in this country, students, because in developed country the old populations are very high because their life expectancy level is more than the developing country. So students, coming to the next one, students, what we can observe is very clear. Frinta's heating and ventilation controllers are sold through building supply companies that resell them for heating engineers. Okay, so how they do is they have a strong supply chain, heating engineers, plumbers and builders, because if you even see the founder was a plumber, so he would have definitely had lot of contacts in the B2B segment where they will be pushing the products to the clients. Frinta will also accept bulk orders from range of house builders where they are prepared to order 500 units or more at a time in order to equip such new houses in major development. So 500 units something time, we have an area called bottleneck, students, in F2. So just remember the bottleneck, and then we have the theory of constraint, that is limiting factor analysis. There can be a limiting factor analysis for your idea, students. Just keep these things in mind because these areas are very much important when you are doing the referencing areas. The next thing they are specifically mentioning is Frinta's controllers must be installed by a qualified professional. Now students, again this is like the AC. When you want to install the AC, you can't install it by yourself. You need to have a qualified professional. An amateur installation could cause the controller to malfunction, thereby damaging Frinta's reputation. Errors can also cause gas or water leaks. So students, keep in mind there can be a situation something happens. So I'll write down here IAS 37, that is the provision topic, students. Please don't forget it. There can be a dangerous situation. One of your sub party fitting this, he did not fit properly, there is a gas leak and there is a damage to a family. How you are going to consider? So these are the main way you should think as a finance manager, which could prove dangerous and damaging the property. Frinta will not therefore set all the controllers directly to the public or to the retail that supply that do-it-yourself market. So it's not a do-it-yourself market. You need to have a professional to do this, students, because there is a high risk that the gas will be, I can say, gas will be leaking from this product. So just keep in mind. Frinta's market is controllers heavily through advertising in trade magazines. So this is trade magazine and online of various websites. Just relevance for the trade people. They are not going for the mass audience, they are just going for the trade people. The purpose of this advertising is to ensure new products and new features are publicized and to maintain a brand recognition. So they are just giving you the idea. So students, I am telling digital marketing will be a major area that you need to remember, students, because digital marketing is one of the fundamental thing, and then big data comes into another picture. So students, don't forget these areas, students. If you have a paper and pen, please write these down because these are very important concepts. And there is something called the business intelligence which you should not forget it, students. Frinta does not advertise to the general public because of homeowners rarely specify a particular brand when they are replacing or upgrading any part of their heating or air conditioning system. Instead, they rely on contractors for recommendation that meets their needs. So actually they have targeted the supply chain very carefully, because even any house students, when the contractor says something, we go with him, because the main reason is we rely on him. But the problem is now we have Google. Nowadays students, people can check in Google and see any best things are there, ratings all they can check. So now there can be a shift in this referral marketing, because it is not the traditional way. Professionals are generally happy to recommend and use Frinta unless their customer insists that they use cheaper brands. The controllers are visible element of heating or ventilation system, and ease of use of immediate impact and customer satisfaction. So just remember these things, students. This is very important. Okay, so students, just remember their marketing concept, and we can clearly understand the digital side of this organization is still backward, students, and that's the reason I told you you need to go through these documents, and these documents are there in the description section where you can download, students. The link in the description section, you can download all the material, students. The next thing, students, smart speaker. In 2016, Frinta launched that what was to be the first range of Frinta Friend, so smart feature. So that was their first type. They launched it 2016. This line of product. Now only we are coming to the case study, students, because the heating system is out. Be very careful. Now the trend has changed, because now we are coming into the correct important thing. So this is the very important thing in the case study. This line of product was launched in response to the success of YP Vox smart speaker produced by YP Burn in 2014. Just remember that, students, 2014 another company has already introduced this. At the time of launch in 2014, YP Vox speaker was a new product category that combined various existing technologies that was intended to simplify users' life. Just keep that in mind. It is very important. Okay, students, essence of smart speakers can be summed up as follows. Online connection. This is the element that makes the device smart. Smart speakers connect wirelessly to home Wi-Fi through the internet. So just remember this, students, because online is very important, the internet connection. Smart speakers acts as a hub, as quicker, easier for the user to interact compatible electronic equipment with home, and also access services through the internet. Just keep this in mind. This is a very important thing for your understanding. Microphones. Users operate smart speakers by giving verbal instruction. Microphone in smart speakers are capable of distinguish voices, background noises, and normal domestic setting. Users simply tell the device what to do. Now my question is language. Now students, if you see, language can be an issue, not now, in the future, because they have exports. Now students, if you see, every country doesn't speak English. There may be countries where they may be speaking Portuguese language, they may be speaking Spanish language, German language, they may speaking Tamil, they may speak Sinhala, they may speak Hindi. So many languages they will be speaking across. So students, just remember the language may become a major factor in the examination. So just make a note of that, students. A programming code can be developed on language. There can be partnering with Google Translate, a company like that. They can develop something like that for your basic understanding, students. So just keep that in mind. The next one, speakers. Smart speakers reply verbally to the user's request using computer synthesized voice. That's what I told you, Siri's voice, I can specifically say. They have good quality speakers to enable those responses to be heard clearly. The speakers give the devices other functions such as playing music that is stored at home network that has been streamed from the internet. Some smart speakers have video touchscreen. Oh, that's a great development. But they generally use the augment function of the speaker. The devices are still operated primarily by verbal exchanges. So I think this is very good for working professional and also the senior citizens as well, so that they will be able to do their works properly. Artificial intelligence. Smart speakers convert users' verbal instruction to text, which becomes command for the device. Issuing verbal instruction to smart speaker is the same typing command on the tablet and the computer. So that's the way they are specifically mentioning. The operating systems in the smart speakers can interpret, so enable without having a particular instruction. So the operating system, now one thing that is compatibility. Now students, if you see iOS compatibility with Android, there is a huge difference, right? So there may be ecosystem developments in the future where two different systems can come, and there needs to be mutuality to make the environment stronger. So coming to the next one, students, for example, Frinta friend device can make sense of almost any, they are specifically saying any sensible request on weather forecast. Frinta, what will be weather tomorrow? Rain, tell me about tomorrow's weather, so on. So the smart speaker will respond to any instruction prefaced by the Frinta, the device activation word. If the instruction is indistinct and ambiguous, the device will request that instruction to be repeated or reworded. So students, there can be situations the pronunciation may play a major role, students, because the pronunciation also matters a lot, students, because different dialects of pronunciations are there even in English. So you need to be very careful. Example, people say water in UK and people say water in the Asian country, and if you see in Canada or USA they say water. So students, if you generally see, the pronunciation plays a major role in all these things. So the software learns users' preference. For example, users can input accounts names, password for major online retailers. So I can say cyber risk can take place, students. Just remember, in P2 we have cyber risk, because online stores you can purchase means there can be a situation of a ransomware coming into a picture where they hack the system and ask money from you, students. Then there can be make purchases, simple commands such as Frinta buy soap, powder and coffee. The smart speaker will place order for the brand items in the past. So it's again doing a data analytics. So I'll write down here data analytics. There can be a risk of the, I can say, piracy also. The privacy risk is also there, whether we don't know what is happening from the service provider, whether are they taking the information or not taking the information. Users can connect to many smart speakers as they wish to their home Wi-Fi network. So they are specifically stating having multiple devices means requests can be made from any rooms of any smart speaker. For example, user can say Frinta toothpaste in my shopping list to connect. So they are saying that is one of segment where they can have in many things. So another thing that the company can develop is a centralized speaker. Centralized speaker is generally you need not have one speaker everywhere in the room. You can have a speaker around your house which is centralized, where you give the command. That also can be done, not now, in the future. So the next thing they are specifically focusing on the connectivity, students. So students, smart speakers interact with smart devices even though they are not designed to be compatible with smart speaker system. These smart devices generally use an open source operating system. So just remember that, students, to control equipment. Any device can be connected at home network and operated with an app that can in theory be controlled the smart speaker. For example, Dronco. Students, remember the name Dronco. This is a very important thing, because there is an area called partnering, students, partnering in digital ecosystem, where you can partner and form a digital alliance, manufacture smart electrical plugs that can be switched on and off by the smartphone app. They use operating systems that are compatible with Frinta friend speaker. If user give Dronco electrical adapter name such as table light, then it can be operated verbally by Frinta switch on the table light, and the system will cope up with the commands such as switch on the table light at 18 every morning. So there can be a data automation as well. Smart speakers can also interact with smartphones. Users can update their up-to-date appointment calendars with verbal commands. Frinta have a dental appointment at 14:30 next week. The calendar gets already synchronized and updated. So I believe that this product is becoming a product that is very much essential for a household, where they can control all the items by their verb control only. That is the basic idea. So students, coming to the next one, YP Burn. This is very important, students, because YP Burn is not a company that is specialized in the heating control. They are a smart tech business, students. They are a smart tech business. But if you see our company, we were dominating the heating control, and we just came into the smart speaker mainly because of YP Burn. Now the story begins. This is the real turning point of the story, students. Frinta's rival in smart speaker market. The market is sophisticated smart speaker was created by YP Burn when it launched its YP Vox smart speaker in 2014. YP Vox was the first produced and offered effective voice control with artificial intelligence, enabling users to speak naturally. It also introduced the ability to distinguish users' voices, any background or noise. So I can specifically say this is the first mover. They are the first mover, students. Ratio analysis, please remember the numbers don't tell lies. First mover advantage we can even observe in the ratio calculations. You will be observing in the next video, students, but get the understanding of this very clearly as much as possible. And they are saying YP Vox was primarily intended to act as an electronic hub within the home. Users would able to interact with their smart speakers in variety of way using activation words such as Vox, distinguish instruction in the example, updating schedule, Vox, Tom's doctor. So I can say this is similar to what Frinta is doing, though they have almost, Frinta has almost copied Vox. I can generally say Frinta has copied Vox. So we are just a second mover in the new segments. Users enjoy the facts of YP Vox speaker could simplify their lives in many different ways, having struggles with complicated programming and installation. For example, if a user purchases a new smart television, there was a chance that would be recognized. The installation require hardly to put input users in the password. YP Vox benefited the fact that the smart devices was being able to develop by many third parties. For example, Drunko smart electrical adapters are intended to be operated by SmartTab, but they can also be controlled by YP Vox. So students, Drunko and I can say Drunko and Frinta can form an alliance. They can form an alliance, we say as a wolf gang. And what they can do, they can increase their orchestration and block the other person. So that can be there. Ethical implication are also there. Just keep that in mind. Now students, coming to our main categories, Frinta smart speaker, that is the Frinta friend. So this was the main reason why we developed it. So coming here, Frinta's entry to the smart speaker business, they are saying, was inspired by YP Burn. The most immediate and reason was YP Burn speakers could control Frinta's smart heating and ventilation controller. So they felt scared that this guy is coming and making one of our unique product going through a voice command. The secondary reason was they wished to diversify its product range, and was clear that YP Burn smart speakers had simulated demand for such devices. But I can generally say it is preservation, because what happens is, if people were able to control using voice, they will always go with any heating controller. They may not go for the branded one as well, because they may find it very different and easy as well, though there is no differentiation factor. Frinta's board view the fact that YP Vox could control Frinta's smart heating and ventilation controller as a threat. Frinta's heating and ventilation controllers are more expensive than other brands. They sell well because of attractive and easy to operate, so they are premium segment, students. The emergence of the smart speaker that can operate heating and air conditioning controller makes it possible for builders to buy cheaper controller system. This need not be visually attractive because there is no speaker when it's seen by operated Wi-Fi signal from the smart speaker. There are also nearly little need for them to easy program to operate a smart speaker. So it's very easy, students, that people have found it very much convenient, smart speaker, because anyway it's a voice command, there is no much. And people with special needs, example who can't walk, they can generally find the smart devices like the smart speakers helping them to control the basic home utilities, students. So that can be a good target audience, we can say the disabled people, because they generally need someone to help them. But in case if there was a device like this, it will be more easier for them. Just keep that segment in your mind, students. Frinta's initial intention was to create smart speaker that was sold to accessory of its heating and ventilation controller. So they want to club the product. This device would be compatible to existing controlling, would offer greater versatility in terms of operating, heating and controlling air condition. So again, students, just remember their products are generally focusing on their main product control only. But if you say YP Burn is like open source, anything can be controlled. So I don't think Frinta can easily break this market, because it's very challenging for Frinta, because if you see the other player has a very strong establishment in themselves. Example students, I will give you a basic idea. Lenovo. If you see Lenovo laptops are there. You would have also seen Lenovo mobiles. But Lenovo mobiles are not successful students, because Lenovo mobiles people don't buy because there are already other big mobile players who are more convenient. So here they have made a big mistake as well, for your understanding. Frinta's research and development department has purchased some YP smart speakers for investigation and found that they could not replicate all the functions that the user could input from the Frinta app on their smartphone. The initial brief of the design on Frinta's Sprint marker was designed to employ function of heating and ventilation control, and also they are saying addition Frinta's friend to production range would protect dominance of Frinta's heating, ventilation control, luxury end in the market. So one thing children, I wanted to be very specific here. Here they have done something called a reverse engineering. That means they have taken the product and they have dismantled the product and they have worked out. There is no innovation here, there is a reverse engineering process. So it clearly says that Frinta is a very established brand in the heating controller, but when it comes to the smart speaker, they are still lagging behind, I can say, YP Burn. Frinta has also been keen in developing smart speakers because the demand for smart heating and ventilator controllers have matured, as you know, because this is a developed country, right? So already the construction sector also would have been matured nowadays. So when the construction sector is matured, I don't think that the company will have the higher stability to go ahead with that. There was some steady demand for the house builders and for the replacement of the upgrade existing system, but Frinta had already met most of the demand from the market. Frinta's board was keen to find a suitable product that could develop the order of the simulate the growth. So just remember that students, that is very important thing. Smart speakers were considered a suitable product for development because they were intended to be simple to use. A key consideration of Frinta's approach to design. Frinta's approach is making the controllers having its experience making electronic items for the use of home and attracting. Frinta's R&D department designed the smart speakers and fulfill the follow, but the problem is the R&D department is very much established in the heating controller. So we need to be very careful that we need to have a restructuring in our enterprise, because the heating control and the smart speakers are completely a different kind of products for the information. And it could also be effective means in operating Frinta's heating and ventilation control using simple voice command. It will also offer additional feature of organizing personal life, conducting basic internet search, online shopping. Frinta's R&D deliver YP Burns works everything. The design team has decided to base Frinta Friends operating system and already smart and ventilation control that gave the greatest possible flexibility in offering voice control to those products. It assisted the development of superior performance standalone smart speaker. And coming here students, Frinta's choice of speaker meant Frinta's Sprint was less suitable for universal controller. You can't control everything, that is universal control that could operate smart device, so it was less suitable. So that is a weakness students, but YP Burn is universal controller. So you think as a consumer students, you generally want a universal product only students, you won't go, because if you see the smart watch, people generally don't buy Apple smartwatch because the main reason it's only compatible with Apple. They buy the other brands because they want it to be compatible with anything, because in case they want to see their health, it will be more easier. Frinta's design team is programmed with the ability to update schedules, list smartphone, ability to control Dronco smart electric plugs, Frinta Friend. There are also third-party products that could be managed by Frinta Friend. It was launched. Frinta's board believed that the consumer would be prepared to buy Frinta Friend because of the build quality excellence of artificial intelligence integration. Most smart products are designed and operated by users' smartphones, so Frinta's board believe users would have little need to use smart speakers for this purpose. But I cannot say so, because when the trend is moving into smart speaker, people will also move into that. I completely agree, in the past they were using the apps, but now I think the speaker is playing a major role. Frinta launched the first Frinta Friend speaker in 2016 with updates and upgrades being added since then. Frinta and YP Burn are leading manufacturers of smart speakers worldwide. YP Burn remains the largest and most successful smart speaker market. Approximately 60% of the revenue. Students, this is important. Ratio calculation, you need to be pointing out these things. Okay, coming down, students, these are the three ranges of the products we have. Frinta Classic, the most popular device, the large and powerful speaker intended to look on the table, right? Frinta Mini, a mini speaker with classic but smaller device. Speakers are little smaller than the classic, so the sound quality is less. It costs less as well, so this is another one. And Frinta screen, which has the screen where you can control it. The screen is larger than the classic, and the video displays can show graphics and picture text. So the two speakers built into the case, giving better sound quality, and the other. And the screen has a camera that can video calls, everything. A photoelectric cell also there. So all these are generally given for your understanding, students. So three product segments are there. So I can just write down here, you can write about product profitability analysis. There may be a situation of product profitability analysis for your understanding. So just remember these things for your basic ideology, students. All three models offer the same basic operating capability. That's the point of it. So capability of operating is still the same. So the consumers are still very strong with YP burn. I'm not sure with this, because the old people who has already used this brand will follow this, but in case if this not moving forward, there needs to be a big thing. All three models offer the same basic operating capacity. Some users own single Frinta while others have several. It's a possible to mix different model in the same network. The devices are easy to install and use. The owner buys a single device, then it will set up itself, asking the user for specific information like password, home Wi-Fi, routing, everything, and they detect the new smart device automatically, requiring the user's security face and the name. Frinta has sold to consumer product through retailers, so it's going through retailers both physical and online who specialize home electronic and entertainment. So they are in the physical and online for the Frinta product, but not for their heating product. So one thing, students, I need to be very careful is this online trading is very important, because there can be customer reviews. So I'll write down here customer review. Students, customer review plays a major role. I 100% agree with that, students. Customer review plays a major role. Coming to the Frinta Operation, students. So Frinta Operation is again basic. Frinta has a factory in the central city of Westland that manufactures controllers for heating, hot water, air conditioning system. The factory is located in the industrial zone, so in the outskirts. Frinta head office is located beside the factory. Frinta has located a central city in its foundation. Initially, it occupied a small factory unit. By the year 2000, it has moved to a present location, large and modern electronic factory purpose head is there. Frinta has a second factory in Tech City, located in the Westland, 90 miles south of the central city. Tech City factory is used to make Frinta products. The location of this factory was chosen because many electronic companies are based in Tech City. The Frinta's board believes that it is desirable for the company to maintain close relationship with manufacturers where they make compatible Frinta. So Frinta R&D is based in large building adjacent to the central city. So if you see, students, there's a Tech City, so we need to be very careful of transfer pricing, because students, transfer pricing can take place. They can exchange items between the products, between one party to another. So Frinta's R&D is based in a large building adjacent to the central city factory. All the company research and development located here. Board is keen and possible synergies between major product ranges, controllers and smart speakers. Head office is split into 5: production, marketing, HR, finance, administration, R&D. But my question here is, we do not have an IT department, which is very critical, students, because IT department is very much important here, because I can generally observe that, students, in this case. So Frinta does not have a direct sales channel for any of the product. Pricing decision including discounts are made by the board. So I can say this may be a big challenge, students, because when the organization is growing bigger and bigger, there needs to be decentralization of decision making to have the fast moving of their products and services. Costing details, students, as I told you, be very careful. Now if you see the heating controller, Frinta Mini, Frinta Classic, Frinta Screen. So my understanding here is, students, get it properly. microphone speakers are something that does not have initially, and here if you see microphone, speaker, camera, screen, not there. But if you see these items, students, you see I'm boxing these items. Remember these items are common between each other. So students, my question is, can there be a spare capacity? There can be a spare capacity. There can be a spare capacity for your understanding, students. In case if there is a spare capacity, can there be transfer pricing, students? Can there be transfer pricing? 100% sure, right? There can be transfer pricing. So just remember, students, there can be negotiations between each divisions on each product, students. So remember this category because it's very important for your understanding and your thinking aspect. And also, students, if you observe and see, the heating controller's total cost is 19.13, and if you see here, students, if you see here, the Frinta, if you see the Frinta front is costing 19.06, and if you see Frinta front screen is 31.94. So I can say that if you bundle this, it comes to 50. You can sell the biggest range by bundling with the screen, because this will give more value. So there can be a situation of product bundling, and also, students, there can be a situation of target costing as well. So don't forget this, students, and life cycle costing, all these things, Kaizen costing there can be coming. So remember these, students, TQM, total quality management, all these theories are very important. So this is the management structure for your understanding, students. So one problem we have is Asma Kuwari, production. So she handles heating and speaker. My question is, does she have the competence? Because I am 100% sure Asma would have been very strong person in the application of I can say the heating controller, but here it's not much. So marketing and advertising, social media, distribution management, but only these things he has, but he doesn't have any other things like I can say business development, because the marketing can do a lot of business development, because he can find new market, new clients, everything. And then David Wen, the CEO, they have mentioned the finance, management accounting, financial accounting, only they have mentioned. There can be integrated accounting as well, because students, now we are also bothered about the environmental factors also, staff recruitment and training only. But students, the other thing I can generally say, other than staff things, I can also say another thing specifically is policies and procedures. They can do, students, HR plan, all those things can be done. And Narendra Sengal, they have mentioned, so R&D, product ranges, product development. So these are the major areas for your note. And coming to here, students, they are given a non-executive team. The main reason why they have given a non-executive team is, students, this is a listed company. So I'll write down here, students, this is a listed entity. So listed entity, anyway, you need to have a non-executive team, but unfortunately they have not given the committee, because there is something called a risk committee in a bigger organization. There is something called a remuneration committee. There is something called a nomination committee, and there is something called an audit committee. So all these committees are not there, but this company is a completely, I can say, a listed organization. And Frinta's business model, if you just go through this actually they give. So let's go through this. Delivering value, Frinta aims to simplify the lives of the users by developing products that are sophisticated and remain easy to use. And they are saying that easy to use, so easy to use is one way they are saying. Frinta creates through innovation, hardware, software, through manufacturing products. So innovation they have mentioned, yeah, for heating is innovation, but for speaker it's not innovation, it's replication. Delivering value, so Frinta delivers value by engaging with makers, wholesalers, heating and ventilation, major retailers, home product. Capturing residual value, Frinta offers premium products that are priced to reflect their technical superiority of these things. Okay, coming to the next one. Frinta has always focused on the quality of the ease of use in the design and manufacture of its product. So that is very clear. This is true both heating and ventilation controllers and smart speakers. Frinta was founded by a plumber. I told you the history plays a major role. The market for smart heater and ventilating controller is mature, but Frinta continues to innovate, making controllers that are easy possible to adjust to operate, whether operating a push button on the control unit, smartphone app, smart speaker, plumbers, everything. Frinta smart speaker continue traditional heating controllers. Frinta Friend can be set up within minutes, even without requiring IT skill. That's good. And Frinta invest manufacturing equipment in good quality materials, product, everything. So they have mentioned all these things, so not much to worry about. So Frinta's experience in the manufacturing of heating and ventilation control is frequently involved working with manufacturers of central heating boilers, air conditioned radiators. So Frinta's controller can be integrated. So they are saying that they work with big parties so that they can work together. The experience has been invaluable. So I can say this is relationship capital. We generally say this as what capital, students? Relationship capital. Relationship capital for your understanding. The Frinta Friend is designed for the use of standalone board, also use the control heating and ventilation. Frinta has also collaborated with Dronco. Frinta Friends plugs into that. So Frinta products are marketed on quality and functionality. So they have just mentioned these things. You can just go through this, but just remember YP burn is very strong in the market. So the financial analysis, and again students, as I told you, I will do it once again later in another video. You can just go through this. You observe the smart industry is growing completely differently and also high level. So the news reports, the beauty of the news report is this time they have not complicated. They have clearly mentioned about the IoT, that is the Internet of Things, how the Wi-Fi devices are interacting with each other. So internet plays a major role. You can go through this, students. And then they have given about the Wi-Fi routers at homes, how many capacities they have, how many limits, all are given. And also students, coming to the reviews of the YP burn home alarm posted. So I can always say, students, there's a 5-star rating. This 5-star rating looks awesome. This 5-star rating look what, students? This 5-star rating look awesome. This looks awesome, students, because it's not for you, it's for your competitor. So they are clearly stating that they are very happy. And also students, this has a security alarm system developed by YP burn. So YP burn has developed a security alarm system. So since at the moment we are a second mover, we may copy the same thing, or we can develop a advanced product than this. So I want to say that in Amazon Astro, students, Amazon Astro you need to search. So I'll just type this, students, Amazon Astro. I just write down, it's a smart robot developed by Astro, and it's again an extension of the voice command only, students. So Amazon Astro, you can just go through that, very interesting for you. And then easy to install is also specifically mentioned, students, all 5-star rating, but only a 3-star rating. Here I can say target costing is coming. This 3-star rating you should read, students, because consumers are getting more, because there is a apartment segment where small medium houses, they don't want too much of products that they have mentioned here. So students, I believe that this case study is very clear. So in a conclusion, what I can specifically say, you can look at the writing pad in the Word document. Everything will be uploaded in the description section. So in the conclusion, what I can specifically say is, students, speaker, I can say smart home is dominating the home appliances, is dominating the home appliances at the moment. So just remember that, students, it is reaching the household. So we are expanding into the smart technology. And students, don't get misled. We were a company that was established in heating speaker, heating controller, but now we are slowly moving into the smart technology, students, because smart technology generally plays a major role in the market. So believe, students, I believe that everything is clear for you. And if you have anything, please use the comment box to ask your questions and doubts. And thank you very much, everyone. Good luck with your examination, and I will definitely keep in my prayers for every one of you. Take care, students. Have a wonderful and a safe time. Take care. Bye.